Good morning. Welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg, and it's the 19th day of December 2023. Welcome to our show, and Merry Christmas to everybody out there. It is the season to be joyful, and we have a lot to be thankful for, even though we're going to talk about a few things today, and some of that is people getting along over Christmas. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, we had a wonderful discussion before we came on this morning about, I won't say the words that I use, but people that perhaps don't act well during the holidays and such. So we're gonna have a good time with this. So what's the song for today, John, on Tatar Tuesday?
Well, I can admit that they are Christmas tunes, but the words may not necessarily be Christmas.
But they might be applicable.
They could be. People could look at it that way and say, yeah, they are applicable.
Or at least funny.
Songs. Do you want to do two songs? They're not real long.
Yeah, or at least funny. Yeah, let's do this.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Do you know Romney and Cheney and Crime Stop and Waters, Shifty and Schumann and many others? But do you recall the greatest sleazebag of all, Joey, the commie resident, puppet of the CCP? If you ever saw him, you swear he was on THC. All of the other Democrats wondered how he got his blow. Hunter's laptop computer was all you actually needed to know. Then one foggy Christmas day, Santa came to say, Joey, with your nose so red, won't you help me guide my sled? That's how the police found him, hanging there in effigy. Joey, the commie resident, you're a mindless SOB.
That's awesome. Love it. Okay, what's song number 2? And you wrote these, right?
I did.
The genius of Mr. Tater, John Tater, on Tatar Tuesday comes shining through again. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if I could get through this one.
I don't know if all of us are going to get through this one.
You better not shout. You better not cry. Grab you some rope. I'm telling you why. President Trump is coming to town. He has a list already made. Those that are on it best be afraid. President Trump is coming to town. He knows that you've been cheating, traitors everyone. He knows you're friends with the CCP. He has the magic wand. You better turn state and swallow your pride. The white hats are coming and they're after your hide. President Trump is coming to town. The bankers now internment, they'll have a jubilee. We're gonna hang all you usurpers on the Capitol Christmas tree. The election was rigged, your future is cast. The law is coming and they're after your ass. President Trump is coming to town.
I love it. That's awesome. That's so great. You need to send me the lyrics to that one. Those two. I like those. They're fun. I was thinking about the Mad magazine did some Christmas carols back in, I think it was like the late 70s and so. And we used to sing these just because they were absolutely hilarious, just to drive my mom and dad nuts. And I think it's really funny because it would drive them absolutely crazy. And but you know, it brings some lightheartedness into the holidays when we're all dealing with things that especially people, you know. I was having a wonderful discussion this morning on the dynamics of communications and how people really suck at communicating terribly. And it's like, No, it's like, it's worse than that. That's why I like being with my horses, because horses don't sit there and consistently insult you, and or and then not even be bright enough to know that they're insulting you or trying to insult you, that sort of thing. It's really a kind of a crazy time we live in. So anyhow, maybe I'll sing the other one. It's Sam and Roz are coming to town. And have you ever heard those Christmas those?
I haven't.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Quite a few of those.
You better give up on Christmas this year. You're having a chance with relatives here. Sam and Roz are coming to town. They're bringing their kids to add to your fun. Staying 10 days, you thought it was one. Sam and Roz are coming to town. It goes on further than that, but it's funny. So what are we talking about today?
Well, I still think that people have the wrong mindset.
Clearly.
They're not, everybody says, yeah, we already know what's going on. Why don't we arrest these people and put them in jail? No, they don't know what's going on. And as it's been said before by X22 and a few others, that until we understand what's happening and understand what's going on and understand the republic, we will never keep the republic. We'll turn it over for 4 years, and then they'll put some other idiot back in office, and they'll switch it on us again.
Most people don't want it to change. It's like there's not enough pain there to change things for most people yet, because they're willing to tolerate the nonsense and not get out of their comfort zone. That's what I see overwhelmingly.
Not getting out of their comfort zone, I agree with you. I don't know how many people are agreeing that it's a good idea of what's going on and they're happy with the system. I don't think that's true because inflation is not doing well. But it's the nickel and dime. It's the 1% of reality of what's going on. It's the inflation. It's the laws that are being projected upon us. It's the corruption. It's the fact that these people that are in office are stealing us blind. It's the fact that they want to go to a one world government, and we're allowing it. We're just
it's like we're allowing these small incremental steps, just like a frog in boiling water, and there's not enough pain for people to actually get off their behinds and do something. And then also going after those who are willing to do something, to demonize them, to try to tear them down. This sounds like a Marxist ideology, doesn't it? We got that going on right now with, it's kind of funny. This group came up, Unshackle the Mitten, and they've been tearing into me and everybody else out there. And they actually made a list. I made their top tier in the list, which was like, man, that's like free advertising. That's like a badge of honor. It's like keep punching away, you idiots, because I think it's amazing. And
no ink is bad ink, right?
What?
No ink is bad ink.
Yeah, there you go. Keep going. I'm living rent free in their brains, so I think it's hilarious. But it's really sad where we are, because people will tolerate so much, and they don't realize that each step of tolerance leads to another one. They're just pushing you just a little bit until you're off the playing field. And then you're not even in the game anymore. And that's really what's happening right now. And so I think that people have to realize that this is, let's see, somebody just posted, said, I read last week that groceries are up 248% higher than last year. I agree with that. If you look at the prices overall, they keep saying, oh, this is the inflation rate. No, it's not. Look at electronics. The price of electronics have come down. So they're not looking at the everyday indicators. A good statistician can manipulate any number to prove anything that they want to put out there in front of the public. You gotta use your brain a little bit and go, well, wait a minute, they're factoring this in or that in, so it's not representational. But when you look at the key indicators, we have way more inflation than what they're even acknowledging. However, gas did come down, which I didn't think that was going to be possible.
Well, in Michigan, she wants to run for election again, or at least everybody to look at her as being a good person. All of a sudden, she's got every single road blocked off because she's doing road repair. It took her 3 years to get cranked up to do this, but now she's doing everything in 1 year. I mean,
and then look at what she had on the roads, because I was driving around when I was campaigning, and all I saw were like 20 miles of solid 4 lanes of orange barrels, and I was like, what the heck's going on? There's no construction going on, but I want to know who's got the barrel contract, because they're making money hand over fist, and there was no construction equipment out there. There wasn't even so much as 2 guys on a shovel. You know, it was like nothing going on, but they would park them at strategic locations. And for a while there, they were shutting down the interchanges right before the election. They would shut down the interchanges just to make people believe that because of the inconvenience, it would stick in their minds. That's a psyop. Because if you really looked at what was going on, there was nothing going on. And, you know, and it's like failure. Whitmer is a complete failure. And it's all political. It's all political posturing that's going on to make us believe they're actually doing a job when they're not. They're not doing their jobs. They're finding out ways just to pacify us a little bit so that we don't kick them out and say, well, I guess she's not so bad. Yeah, she is. The whole administration's bad. And so is everybody else sitting in the legislature. They all suck.
They do. And the problem that we have is that the people are still asleep. And that's the problem that we have. They still are following some of the nonsense that's on the computers. And I'm going to bring back to the contracts. It's all about contracts. You know, you get into a contract with a public functionary. You can't do that. You can't get into a contract with them because they have no right to contract with us. Just like corporations cannot contract with us. We have the right to contract with each other, but that's about it. Also, birth certificates, that nonsense that, you know, you have this $1 billion birth certificate that all you have to do is cash it in and have all that money. Who's done that? Give me one person that's done that. And what have they done with the money that they've cashed in on? You know, this is all crap. And the fringe flag, you know, this has been already debunked by several courts out in several court cases. The man on the land, that's another good one I love to hear. I'm a man on the land. So what does that mean? We're all men on the land and women on the land. So what does that mean? How does that have anything to do with the legal system in this court, in this country? Nothing. Or how about admiralty and maritime? You know, we are cargo on a ship and all this crap that's going on. This stuff is distracting us from the real essence of what this country was all about, and that's the republic. And anybody that falls into the trap of any of these is being distracted and taken away from what he really should be thinking and working on. And that's the republic. Because if you understand what's going on, then you'll understand that the republic is our only salvation, because that is what this country is all about. The public functionaries out there all swear an oath to the Constitution. They all swear that they're going to uphold the Constitution, and when they violate that, they need to be eliminated. They need to be kicked out of office and/or charges of treason brought up against them. And we need to be pushing back and taking our gloves off and stop being nice to them, because they are nasty to us. We need to return fire the same way. We need to be nasty back to them. We need to go after them in every which way we possibly can. Now,
I think we need to go after them a lawful way and hold them, you know, so because
the rule of law is on our side.
Yeah, you know, we can just remove them and say, you're done. You're just done. And then I really think that anybody right now that's holding office should be removed, forfeit any unjust gain, and then never be allowed to hold public office ever again. There's a thing that came in the chat for Charlotte. It says lawmakers don't care. They're making money off of stocks like Debbie Dingell. Her committee gave $27 million to Medtronics and made 2 times or more her investment. Insider trading, legal for public functionaries. And Stabenow, FTX public functionaries making millions. Clown and insider trading scam. There's so much insider trading going on. It's not even funny.
Charlotte's getting it. She's calling them public functionaries.
Yes, we're all learning, aren't we? This is a day. This is like the best Christmas present John could ever receive. Everyone all out there, all in unison. Public functionary. Public functionary. There. Now there's our Christmas present to you, John. You got it right.
That's great. So I got a couple questions for you. Are we consumers? That's what they call us.
Well, yes, that we are consumers because we consume things, correct?
No, we're citizens.
Okay,
I'm not a consumer.
Okay.
I'm a citizen of this country, but they call us consumers. See, it puts us in a different light when we're just a consumer. You just consume stuff. You're nobody important. You're
like the worthless eaters. We're the
exactly worthless eaters. Exactly a point. So when you hear a public functionary call us consumer, then he's just saying that you're nobody. You just consume stuff, and
Good
that's
point.
not what we are. We are the citizens. We are the public functionaries. So we got to get that straight.
Okay.
How about pleading the fifth, so you don't incriminate yourself? Is that appropriate?
I'm going to say no because I feel like this is a trick question.
Well, it's not a trick question. It's just what they always said on the television when you've watched it.
Right. Perry Mason. Remember Perry Mason?
He's incriminating himself. No. Bear witness against yourself. That's different. You're not incriminating yourself because you're not part of the criminal. But you see the terminology, the way they use the words, the word criminal and incriminate, all of, makes a connection. He doesn't want to incriminate himself because he's probably got some criminal background. No. You don't want to bear witness against yourself. That's a big difference. And so we have to be very much aware of the terminology that's being used on us on a daily basis. Another one is separation of church and state. Is there a separation of church and state? No. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. That's true. But there is no separation of church and state. How about calling for a person? I got a call from a person yesterday who said that we are all heading for the CBDC, which is the central bank digital currency. Everybody hear that story? You go into McDonald's and you have to use a kiosk now to buy your stuff and use credit cards and so on and so forth.
We're already digital.
Well, the point of the matter is
to a certain point,
cash is not going to go away, no matter what the CBDC or the banks would love it to happen, but it isn't going to happen. Because there'll be black markets and all kinds of other things out there if they ever tried to pull it off on us, but they're not doing it. Besides, people are now investing in Bitcoin. People are buying gold at Costco. Can you believe that? People are buying gold at Costco. I think Costco sold $1 million of gold in a few hours.
I didn't know they're selling gold.
Yeah, it just started, I guess, and they're making all kinds of money on buying gold. That you could go to Costco and buy gold. Can you believe it? That's incredible.
And I want everybody to think about this. Look at the people around you. Trying to get a group of people on the same page for anything is like cat herding. Do we really think? Yeah, I'm seriously, right? It's like, because everybody knows everything and their way is best. And so it's like to get behind something in a unified effort until people decide that they are going to commit to working together instead of just fighting amongst themselves. We're going to be on the same little hamster wheel for a long time. It starts with us. And, we have to be willing to set ourselves aside for the greater good and to work with people and be here to be a help, not to have to be in charge of anything. I actually don't really like being in charge. I'll do it if I see something that needs to be done, but I'm happy shoveling horse manure, right? It's like there's so many headaches that come with being in charge. And I've been in charge of so many things that it's like, I don't need any practice. And so, but that's to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. You have to understand that our first order of business is to replace ourselves with someone else and move on to something else, not to get entrenched into a power play. And that's a real human failing, that people want to get themselves entrenched into power, and then they're going to hang on to that power forever. No, the thing is that if you do come to any power, you need to raise up other leaders and replace yourself, and then go and fix another problem. You don't get stuck. And that's a real flawed mindset. That's a death blow to somebody who owns a business, because you got to have a sustainability plan in place, and that's get yourself out of the way.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what. See what I got?
What is it?
That is a Office of the Clerk of the Court of the Court Clerk, Election Division. And what it basically says here is that I have not paid my filing. I have not, well, let's see. It says the last day of filing was reported on October 25th on 5 o'clock in accordance with the Campaign Finance Law, MCL 169.233. We are assessing you an amount of $500. A copy of governing provision of the law is attached, which it wasn't. Reporting the period of 10/20/2023 quarterly. And then he goes on to say in dark black print at the very bottom, you must be made, payment must be made by certified check, money order, credit card, committee check. No personal checks will be accepted.
So you can't even pay it, because it's got to be paid in legal tender, which is gold or silver, right?
That's right.
So they didn't give you an option to follow the law. So now they're asking you to break the law with paying the fine.
That's exactly right. So
see, there's your second Christmas present for the day, John.
I am going to give you a rough idea of what I'm sending back to them, Bob. It's not complete.
What kind of beans are you sending them?
I don't know yet. I'm working on that. I've got a couple of different packs of beans, so I got to figure out which ones I want to send.
Split peas. Send them split peas.
Anyway, I wanted to read you what I wrote so far. And this is a rough copy of the letter. When I got this, I said, I'm going to get going on this thing. But I haven't really finished it. So it basically says this. It basically says, your attempt to collect a fee fine for the election that was an unsuccessful, uncertified forensic audit has demonstrated that you are usurping authority you were never granted. The election held in 2022 was not only a fraud on the public, but a usurpation of many laws that govern our republics. First of all, I direct your attention to the United States Constitution, of which you frequently violated Article 4, Section 4, of which you swore an oath to. Also, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which I'm not telling him what these are. He needs to look them up. If you want to quote laws to me, then you must be aware of MCL 21.153 and 21.154. The fiat currency you are demanding is as fraudulent as the election that was held by the usurpers in Lansing. Truth will soon be known to all. Since it is your name that is attached to this letter, and you are demanding what I violate the above laws and constitutional articles I cited, I must inform you that you will be part of any lawsuit I will pursue over these issues. Then I quote Norton versus Shelby County, where I underline, an unconstitutional act affords no protection and creates no office. Those are in bright yellow. I hope you understand that your office of campaign finance manager will not protect you from the personal lawsuit for your violation of the United States Constitution and Michigan compiled laws. It is clear that your office is an inanimate object office, in parentheses, that it cannot make decisions. Only the officer in that office makes decisions. So therefore, I cannot sue the office, but rather the individual that occupies that office. You are not a de jure officer, but rather a usurper and therefore liable. I want to check out Ex parte Young, which says an attempt of a state officer, this is the quote from the court case, an attempt from a state officer to enforce an unconstitutional statute is an illegal act. The officer is stripped of his office character and is subject in his person to the consequences of his individual conduct. And I go on further. This is very short now.
They don't want this out there.
Huh?
So they don't want this out there. Your video keeps freezing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. In order to close this matter once and for all, please be informed that I am not conceding the position I ran for, and therefore this position has not been filled by a fraudulent election still remaining in question. Further, I will file a complaint in the court of competent jurisdiction and seek demands for $135 million in damages against all the usurpers involved in the shameful process you usurpers called an election. It's not finished yet, but that's the start.
Well done. I love it.
So I was telling my friend Ron this. He says, good, I'll use it in my campaign also.
Oh, that's funny.
What such nonsense. But anyway, bringing us back to the CBDC, which is the central bank digital currency. First of all, in order for this to happen in the United States, what has to happen? What's the one main important point that has to happen in order for the central bank digital currency to actually take effect in America?
Well, we'd have to crash, I believe.
No, more than that. No.
Okay.
That crashing probably would exacerbate the situation and get people real excited about it. But what would have to happen in order for the CBDC bank to take effect? It has to be voted for by Congress, the House of Representatives. And do you think for a minute that they're going to accept this? They've already wrote laws against it. So the CBDC and anybody that thinks this is going to happen is out to lunch. They don't understand what our country is all about. That's what irritates me more than anything. We've been talking about this for how many years already? I mean, my group has been talking about this, and we have people out there that still believe that this is going to happen. It can't happen because Congress has to vote it in, and Congress isn't going to vote it in. First of all, Congress is not on the side of the banks anymore, and so that's why they've been losing at every single turn. They want money for Ukraine. The House of Representatives turns them down. Yes, we have a few criminals, Lindsey Graham and who's that other moron over there? Ryan.
Oh, like all of them?
Well, there's like a few of them. Yeah. Lindsey Graham.
That are good, but most of them not so much.
These people need to be named, tarred and feathered, and kicked out of Washington. That's all, and they will be. That's coming. That's because my two Christmas carols for everybody says that it's coming. It's coming. But we, as the American people, have to wake up. We have to understand what is going on. That brings me back to Norton versus Shelby County, which is the supreme law of the land. An unconstitutional act is not a law. How many unconstitutional acts do we have? Who was the Department of Child Protective Services? Who is that? Where do they exist? Where is it in the Constitution that gives them authority? It isn't there. They do not exist. According to Norton, they do not exist. And people that are playing into that, well, that's a problem. But that needs to be brought out every time we're pushed by people like the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Energy, Department of Education, Department of whoever you want. If they're not in the Constitution, they have no legal authority to be even in office. That office does not exist. Norton versus Shelby County makes it very clear. If it's not in the Constitution, they do not exist. And that's how we need to be pushing back at these people. Not by saying, it's about contracts, it's about birth certificates, I'm a man on the land. None of that baloney. Norton versus Shelby County spells it out completely. If it's an unconstitutional act, if you're not in the Constitution, you do not exist. And when we start filing, and when I file court cases, that's number one in the heading of my court case, and in the body of my court case, that first of all, prove your de jure authority, prove that you exist according to the law. And they can't.
So there's a big problem there. There
is a big problem. You cannot be fined or tried or put into jail or have to pay any kind of restitution to the government if the government has no authority.
And this whole jurisdiction thing is, it goes how do I say this? Socially, this has been manipulated into us to say that, well, we can go across all jurisdictions, and you can see it in personal lives as well as in the government. It's a symptomatic thing of people not staying on the rails and trying to be everything to everyone at all the time. And the attorney general, she's off the rails because they're in personal lives rather than into commerce, which is what they should be working on, where the sheriff's has jurisdiction over people, right?
Well, absolutely.
So it's overall. And so this goes back to the fact that they have no jurisdiction. These organizations, which goes, I've got a question for you then, which brings us to another thing. So this week, somebody decided to go on the attack to somebody else for calling CPS on them and alleging that they were child abusers because they said the F word. And I'm sitting there going, there's so many things wrong with this that I can't even begin to start talking about why there's so many things wrong with that whole scenario. It is fundamentally wrong. And what are they really trying to achieve? That's the question that I have. First of all, we're calling on an agency to attack another human being and attack their family and attack their children, a God-given institution, which is marriage and raising children, and calling in an unconstitutional agency to be the attack dog and the threat. This is so wrong. I can't even believe it. And then, we look at all of these agencies. None of them have the authority, as you said, to your point, to actually exist. But let's talk about people who actually use them to tattle on other people and weaponize them. Does that not remind you of exactly what the Nazis did in World War II? It's exactly what they did. They weaponized the population against themselves.
That's right. That's what they've been doing all this time.
When you see somebody that is calling an unconstitutional government agency an attack dog for the Marxists on another citizen to violate their rights or their family, for that matter, and say, oh, I didn't like the word they said, so I'm going to call him a child abuser. And then we're going to call CPS on him. I think somebody should call CPS on him. That person right there has struck themselves from anything legitimate, in my opinion. If they want to apologize for being stupid, that's one thing. But and say, I made a mistake. I get that. But to weaponize something against another human being, which is proven, is our government is infiltrated from within by the enemy. I'm not worried about China. China's a train wreck right now. Honestly, if you look at the problems that China has, China is in a rapid depopulation cycle. You know, that one child policy that they had on. Well, yeah, they were killing all the females, and so now they're importing women from North Korea into China. This is like, do you think there's going to be much Chinese people actually left? Not when you get the producers out of the way and they have to go to other countries to have someone to marry or have a mate to produce children. And it's like, there's so much going on out there that we've been fed so many lies that I think that everybody needs to take a step back and not be so pragmatic about knowing what the heck's going on, because we don't know what the hell's going on around the globe. The only information we're getting is by 6 news outlets.
Yes.
Well, it's gotten better with our decentralization of the independent media, which hats off to anyone who's a citizen journalist out there, because that's the only place you're going to get anything that even looks like the truth or is trying to find the truth. But we have a huge problem with the jurisdiction. And I know I got off on a little bit of a rabbit trail there, but going back to your point that none of these offices exist. So when a citizen, when a person weaponizes it against another person, what have they done? They've become a captured asset of the deep state right there. And
jurisdiction can be pled at or questioned at any time in any court proceeding, all the way up to the Supreme Court. Anytime you have a issue that's going on in the courts, you can always question jurisdiction. Well, they must prove their jurisdiction. Well, they cannot just say, I have a jurisdiction. I have jurisdiction over you. You must prove it.
Well, I was talking to a sheriff friend of mine, and we were talking about the fact that there was a person out there who wrote up an arrest warrant for Gretchen Whitmer, took it to the state police and said, does this look correct and such? And they said, yes, but if you file it, we will shoot you because we are here to protect the governor.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And so they're her little secret police guard at this point in time. And
that's what the state police are. They're
yes.
the police guard for the state. That's not what we go to.
No, and so they're not serving we the people, which is what the sheriff's office should be doing.
Exactly.
And it's like, this thing is so out of whack. We can't even believe, because we do not know the law. I mean, when you have somebody from the state police say, if you file an arrest warrant or file this arrest warrant for the governor, we will shoot you. Who do they serve? A usurping governor who was part of stealing the election? It's like, I'm sorry, but people in all different walks of life, if you're a nurse or a doctor and say, you have to push this shot on people, and they know that it's killing people, they're liable for the deaths. I'm sorry. And the same thing with some other things in society. We as people have to start making decisions based on what God's telling us in our own heart, what's right or wrong, instead of listening to or saying, well, they told me to do it. This is the way it's supposed to work. I called this on other people. Well, you know what? Those people are just as guilty as the people sitting in the seats.
Exactly. And they are as guilty. Nuremberg proved that to be the case.
What's that?
Nuremberg proved that to be the case.
Yes, and I agree. It's like the Nuremberg. My sheriff buddy brought up the Nuremberg syndrome. Well, I was just following orders. Well, guess what? You're still guilty. If you're following orders, you are complicit.
That's right.
And so we got to stop taking that coward way out. Well, I was just told what to do. I'm going to put my kids in school and not. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it because that's what we do. Even if they're doing things that are harming your children. Sorry, you try to put that in front of God, and God's not going to give anybody a pass on that one. You still have to do the right thing. Parents are responsible for their children. Nobody's going to get a pass on the excuses that somebody told me to do it. And I don't care what sector of society you're in.
We know we really have a lot of control if we would exercise our power. And our power is, number one, the sheriff should be working strictly for us. They shouldn't be giving parking tickets and speeding tickets and going doing all that kind of crap. Their job is to protect the public from the government. That's their primary function. That's their constitutional duty. And any sheriff that doesn't do that is a usurping authority he was never granted. And that's what we have.
The sad thing is that that the sheriff I was talking to said that the problem is that if the sheriffs step up, there's so much power aggregated in that the governor's office with the state police behind him. He said they will start lobbying lawsuits and break us and or throw us in jail. And he said with the threats that are out there, to have a sheriff say that should be sobering for everyone out there, to say that the whole system is screwed up big time.
If I was elected sheriff in Wayne County, first thing I would have did was gone after those 3 or 4 people that were involved in putting that other sheriff up for election. They would have been the first three in jail, and that would have been the clerk, that would have been the probate judge, and that would have been the prosecuting attorney. Those 3 would have been in jail immediately because they played a game on the public. And,
yes. And
then let the courts at that point in time handle it and see if they are guilty or not of playing the game of getting that guy in their office, to getting that puppet in office. But the problem is that until we break the election, and I think it's coming. I think we're going to have this next election, we're going to be doing paper ballots, and I don't believe that they're going to be able to pull this crap on us anymore because of the paper ballot system. I think the people in general, and I'm making a very generalized statement here, want good for what's going on in this country. They're not evil and criminal. They want a good country. So they're going to listen, hopefully, and they're going to pick and not go by the parties necessarily, but go by the individual. And I think we have come full circle around where people have realized that we can't vote Democrat, we can't vote Republican because they're not serving the people.
Well, the labels are lying. They're lying labels. They're manipulative labels. They've already been infiltrated, and there's no coming back for this because they've got themselves so entrenched in the system that the only people that are able to progress within the political parties right now are their approved puppets. Exactly. On who they're giving us the ability to have, you have a choice on who we say you can choose, and they're all part of the system.
That's right. So we as the American people need to go through this awakening process because there's still too many people that still don't get it, that still don't understand what the Republic is all about and how the Republic functions. And as my friend Ron has always put it, Norton versus Shelby County, that is the key. That exactly spells out what the Republic is, who the terminology we should
usurpers.
Be using, the terminology we should be using in our everyday lexicon when we talk to not only public functionaries, but when we talk to individuals. So we learn the proper terminology and we get away from the distracting terminology that the deep state has been pushing on us. A good example, overreach. How many times have you heard that? They were overreaching their authority. No. They were usurping their authority, which makes it, again, overreaching is not criminal, usurping is. And so we have to go into the appropriate language. And of course, the deep state has changed the language of our political system to make it, how would I say, nicer for them, easier for them, not as criminal for them. But the fact of the matter is that it's cut and dry. It's basically set up as to what our rights are and who we are and who they are. They are, as once when I was growing up, they were called public servants. Remember back then? Still an incorrect name, because they're not public servants. They're public functionaries that have a function in government. And we need to get back to the proper lexicon to turn this country around. And that brings us to the point where people have to start paying attention. Because it's, as you're saying, we're the frogs in the boiling water, and it's just getting hotter and hotter. We got to change this, and we're the only ones that can change this. Trump can't change this. Trump will do the dirty work for us, but we have to be behind him 100%, supporting him.
President Trump, the rightful president of the United States. Trump. Yes.
We need to get away from the nonsense of, there are a lot of people out there that don't like him for one reason or another, and I don't even understand why. They come up with all these television slogans that the televisions have said about him, but they don't really know who he is.
It's a childish way to address a problem. And it's a popularity contest. This is like a high school clique. Instead of listening for information and stop trying to create a pariah. Like I keep talking about the fact that he's the rightful president of the United States. I don't really care at this point in time. What we're defending is the American process of choosing our leaders. And that's what
functionaries.
The what?
None of them are my leaders.
Okay. Point well taken. Okay. I just got tatered right there. You're wrong. And so, but you're right. It's like we get to choose who fills those positions for us to do that work. And this is a job interview. This isn't, well, I like the clothes they wear. I like their hair. I don't like their hair. I don't like their mean tweets. That is such a low IQ metric. I can't even believe it. It's like, if we had somebody in there, I don't care if it's the biggest bastard on the planet. If they got in there and they could run this country, and I couldn't stand them, but they got in there and they started putting things on the chopping block that needed to go. Hey, that's going to be our guy. And it could be the, guy being guy and girl. It's just a Michigan term, right? It's like, that's our person in there who's getting the job done. We don't have to like them. We don't have to invite them for Christmas dinner. They're there to get a job done. And that doesn't come with it, necessarily. I think the best person we could have would be somebody that's not necessarily popular, but gets in there and makes those cuts across the board that need to happen, because that's the only way this is going to survive.
Years ago when he was talking on the television about, they asked him, would you ever run for president? I didn't like the guy. I really thought he was, personally, I didn't like him. But when he got on the platform and he started talking, I said, I like him. This guy really knows. This guy doesn't talk like a politician. This guy says it like it is. This guy is great. So I went from I didn't really like him to I'll support him in any possible way I can, because he really knows what he's talking about.
I like The Apprentice. I thought that was a fun show. And you're fired. I love that. You're fired.
And that's one of the reasons he's in office now, to fire these creeps that are in there and get rid of them. So I do like him based on what and how he behaved himself on the platform, that he wasn't a politician.
Well, and he was a great boss. He didn't sit there and say, well, I know that the pedophiles didn't really mean to abuse a 3-year-old. He doesn't come out and say that. He's like, you deserve the death penalty.
That's right.
And it's like, I kind of like that. That's like clear and to the point. When people break the law, they know they're breaking the law. You don't sit there and give them a pass and say, Yeah, we're going to just turn you loose, you serial rapist, because we know that you didn't really mean it and you're not going to do it again. No, it's time. You're done. You're done. It's over with. You know, they know what they're doing. They're going to go out and do it again. Jeffrey Dahmer said the same thing. If you let me loose today, I'll go out and cannibalize more people, because they were sick. They're sick. And it's like, I feel sorry for them, because there's something wrong with them. But you don't put them out in society and let them run loose to run amok to go and hurt more people. That's insane. And that's what I like about President Trump. It's like drug dealers, death penalty. They know they're killing people. You know, how can you justify the amount of fentanyl coming in this country? No, you know, we talked about it yesterday. Nobody uses it for fun. Fentanyl is not a fun joyride. It's to kill people. That's it.
What I like about him more than anything is that he talks the rule of law. This is the rule of law. In a country that has a republic, we have to have a rule of law. And that rule of law cuts both ways on everybody. It's there to protect us, and it's there to harm us if we're violating the law. The rule of law is what the republic is all about. If we don't have the rule of law, and we have the rule of man, which is what we have right at this moment, or what they're trying to press upon us, we have nothing. We have a dictatorship. We have a ruling class above the public. And that's what they've been proving by this two-tiered rule justice system, that what's going on with Biden is okay. I mean, we're going after Biden, therefore we can go after President Trump. It's equal. No, it's not equal. When you go after Biden and then President Trump, now you can consider that being equal, but you can't go after. Why don't they go after Biden or Trump's son and Biden's son? And now that's equal. But the nonsense that they try to portray to the public, and the public buys this stuff.
The public is like lulled to sleep by all of the brainwashing, the media, the things, the electronic media. Spending time with, we'll go back to what we were talking about at the beginning, biting on clickbait when there's no truth to it whatsoever, and they don't look past the headline. And so it's like, let's just keep biting on the clickbait. And you know, it's I have heard so many times over and over, okay, this is going to happen this weekend. It's going to happen this weekend. There's going to be a big happening this weekend. On and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, you know, it's like, oh, dear God, please stop with this date manipulation. I won't say the word, but all the anons out there know what I'm saying. It's like, please stop it. It's like, you know, we can sit there and focus in on the new person that's got the new truth, and we still are not learning to study the law so we have the real power. It's all this distraction. It's storytelling. It's fortune telling. It's all this other stuff other than just getting in there and just doing the hard work that it takes to be successful and be armed with actual knowledge that you can do something. We're still sitting back and watching a movie instead of getting in the game. That's to actually change things on a very base level. Okay. And I think that's a point, is that we go to meetings, we sit there and we bitch some more, and then we leave and we bitch some more. Okay. And that's all we do. And then we listen to the next person who's got the next wisdom on it, and we still don't do anything. So, and with that said, we've got our meeting on January 27th for the state, for the U.S. Taxpayers Party, which is in fact the Constitution Party affiliate in the state of Michigan, the true Constitution Party. And so we're going to be at Center Shot Indoor on January 27th. And I'd like to invite everybody there. We have resolutions that are going forward, as well as some work meetings to actually call people to account and communicate with our public functionaries and instruct them on what they're doing. I mean, that's what you do. That's why we're part of the U.S. Taxpayers Party, because we're trying to get work done, not just, and also listening for information, not listening to debate or argue. Debate and argue, it goes nowhere. We're listening for information and having civil conversations to find the truth, not just trying to destroy each other. It's ridiculous what's happening out there.
I agree with you 100%. We have to get the solutions.
Yes.
We have to go after the learning process and stop listening to sound bites that have been told us. And by the way, the CIA and the FBI and all of these alphabet organizations that have been out there, they've been out there for a long time. They really know how to manipulate the public.
Oh, yeah.
And not only will they manipulate them through speaking, through their propaganda, but they know other methods. We're talking about electronics. We're talking about TI people. We're talking about people that are being abused by the system. And when you all of a sudden start getting somebody picking on you, somebody abusing you, and you really don't understand the law, then you kind of, what do? I don't know what I'm doing here. I gotta hire an attorney, or I gotta do this, or I gotta do that. You get frightened, and you become very weak in your stance, and you don't know which way to go. You got to learn that stuff now, while it's easy to learn, while you have your mind clear, while you're available emotionally and physically to understand the laws of our country and how the country operates. Now you should be learning, not waiting until the crisis hits. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They wait until they have a crisis.
Well, let's talk about how we sometimes get pushed, because coming into the holiday season, we all have people around us that drive us nuts, okay? That will get under your skin on occasion. That's part of being human beings, right? And a lot of times I think those people are there, getting ready for a crisis. I'm going to, jump off of that one a little bit, because we are coming up to the Christmas season. And the things that we learn from people who are imperfect are just as important as those things that we learn from perfect situations, or more so, because they teach us. So like if somebody's being abusive or nasty to you, you can go to God and say, all right, I'm putting boundaries down here, because I'm not going to sit here just getting punched in the face, right? But also, is it something that can help you deal with a situation if it comes up again? It's equipping you for more difficult situations. And I think that that's true in a legal sense too. When you get knocked if you get knocked in the face with our illegal legal system, which is not legal at all, it should push you into action to say, wait a minute, this isn't working too good. I'm going to go ahead and get educated so that next time this comes around, I'll be able to counter it, which is why we are on Tuesdays. This is a broad application of this to our interpersonal communications, to our legal knowledge, to our knowledge, lawful knowledge, legal knowledge, to the way that the system works. If something's going wrong, it's an opportunity to learn better coping skills, B, getting in and getting educated, listening for information, and being equipped, because it's going to happen again. Things repeat. And so it in a way, it does us a huge favor, get in a bad situation and turn it around.
I have, through my studies, have learned something kind of important, that we are living in a world that is, the 1% of this world is controlled by the evil. And the fact the organizations, or the understanding that I've had, they call it Satan. You can call it Satan, they're spelled the same way, but Satan is the correct pronunciation. And that our whole purpose here on this planet is to learn, is to improve ourselves. And so in this process, we get these hurdles that we have to overcome. And there's hurdles all the time. So if you overcome the easier hurdle the first time, when it's easy to overcome, then you don't face the music the second time around. But if you kind of push it aside and don't pay attention to it, the next time it comes around, it's going to be a little more, it's going to kind of kick you in the rear end a little bit. say, hey,
well, it may have a tougher. It may be tougher, like doing a marathon. You're going to get tougher trials as we walk forward in life, because we are learning. And so it's like God will never give you more than what you can handle, but it is going to get tougher. I mean, you can look back at what you went through in your 20s and go, wow, I wish I had the knowledge to now, then that I have now, because you're the way you approach things typically is a little bit more difficult, or more it's based on experience rather than a knee-jerk reaction. And so you can sit back and look at something and ponder it a little bit rather than being activated by your emotions. That's what I love about being older, is that, of course, all of us will get pushed to a point once in a while. I mean, I certainly do. I can tell you that right now, when something becomes super stupid, I'm just like, this is past my ability to cope with this, and the door will slam until I can actually be sane about it, instead of going for the juggler, on somebody that was stupid. And so you learn better coping skills so that you can come back and smile and say, and approach it in an adult way, right? Exactly. But that doesn't mean that any of us are totally immune to it. But every time we do that, we gain a skill, and that's a good thing. Exactly. It's a spiritual exercise to not only fail, but to face things that are difficult, or even things that just piss you off. Okay. Because I mean, everybody out there, oh no, now guess what? Somebody's going to say, Brandenburg, we better call somebody on her because she said a word we didn't like, screw ya. How's that? Screw you for saying that. Not you personally, but somebody that has an issue with it. First Amendment rights. You don't have to like it, but that's the way it is. So I think it's a good thing. Spiritual exercises are good. And the tougher the exercise that you're on, the stronger you're going to become, as long as you decide not to fall in with their evilness, I don't like lies, and I don't like manipulation. I feel liars and manipulators are about the lowest caliber of scum suckers that walk the planet.
How would you ever learn anything if you just sat in front of the television and watched a TV program, or you've never been challenged? Mm-hmm. If your life goes on and nothing is challenging to you, it's just, it just happens and life goes on. You become a vegetable, basically. You never gain anything from that. It's the challenges that make us who we are. And the harder the challenge and the more the challenges, the greater the strength that you have as an individual in this process. And that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Yeah. So once again, I'll say it again. Liars and manipulators are bottom-sucking lowlifes.
Yeah, but they got to be there, because we have to know that they're there. If they weren't there, we wouldn't have a challenge, would we?
And I have to address it.
Wouldn't have a challenge if Bill Flowers, campaign manager of the clerk of Wayne County, wasn't writing me a letter. I mean, I wouldn't write back to him. I mean, I love your letter. Call him a you. Wait till it's
love
finished.
Your letter. Yeah, your letter's amazing.
It's going to get very powerful before it's done, but that was my immediate impression that I had to do. If I don't put it down on paper tomorrow, I forget it. So we got to put it down on paper.
Let's see. We got to see what we have here. We've got people talking. Thank you, John. Thank you, Donna. Public functionaries do not have sovereignty once in office. We have the right to sue them when their usurpation of one's duty of one de jure office. Their ID, no immunity. There is no immunity for public functionaries who do not act de jure. Charlotte's got this.
Charlotte's on track. But
hey, another Christmas present for John.
She comes to our Wednesday night meetings too, so she's getting 2 barrels a week from this group and then from that group. So she's getting it. And we need more people like her coming on board and listening and getting more and more knowledge about what the world is all about.
So you're going to come to our January 27 meeting?
I'll put it on the calendar. I don't know at this moment.
I'll take that as a yes. I'm going to volunteer you. You have to be at the meeting. Hey, we're doing it at a gun range. It'll be great. We can probably get some range time in.
Oh, that might be good. I'll bring one or two or three of my pistols or whatever.
We're raffling off a firearm.
Oh,
and I'm not sure if raffle's the thing to call it. We're not raffling enough. We're going to have a firearm that somehow is going to be gifted to an individual, but that's I don't know if it's going to be a door prize or something like that. And so we're going to try doing some fun things. So that'll come out more. And we've got one, potentially two speakers that are going to be talking about what's happened in the attack on our Second Amendment rights. And I think this is going to be a really good. I think it's going to be really good. As a woman who has a CPL, I would like to tell all the girls out there, go get your CPL. That is the great equalizer out there. I'm sorry. Somebody come. Did you know there's the women used to have, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but women in the House, they have so changed our society due to masculizing women and defeminizing women and feminizing men. And I don't even know. There's no real rules that are being followed. But, my grandma was a force to be reckoned with. I'm going to tell you what, she was a tough woman. She was about 5'10". She did some modeling when she was younger, but she went to college in the early 2000s, and you just didn't argue with grandma. Okay. My grandma was a tough woman, and she ruled the house, and her sisters were the same way. They get together and you would talk about a hilarious situation. It was funny. And you're just like hoping not to get a slipper. Right. And so, stepping out of line. She was great. But I think they were called pole arms, and women used to have pole arms in their house to defend their home, where the men were out gathering. Men were out gathering and doing things out, that require more strength than women. And I do believe that, and I'm going to tell you, we have the rights to do different things that we want to. That doesn't mean, like, for me, I'm a horsewoman. I'm kind of a tough gal, really. And I can take a kick from a horse or a bite or a stomp or whatever. I've been, thrown, not very much, the only time that I was I've had a couple times in my life, but the last time was my horse hit ice and the legs went underneath her. And I thought she was going to fall right on me. I sat there and it was the weirdest thing. I see the horse coming down on me, and she was twisting, and I'm like, oh, she's going to come right down on top of me. And I was expecting a broken pelvis the way she was falling. And at the last minute, it was really cool. All of a sudden, she went that way and I went that way. And all I can say is it had to be an angel that pushed me out of the way. And I'm telling you what, you want to see a plus 50-year-old woman move fast. I started watching the feet scramble to get back up. And my daughter and another horse trainer were watching me from a distance away. And I got up, I hit the ground and got up, got a hold of my horse to make sure she was okay. I had a little bit of bruising, but it wasn't too bad. But I'm going to tell you, God pushed me right out of the way. And it was crazy. It just went just like that. Had to be an angel that pushed me out of the way. Otherwise, I would have been in serious trouble. So I'm kind of a tough woman, but we have changed our society to the point of saying women are weak. I'm going to tell you what, okay? Women are incredibly strong. My husband is, and I'm going to say this, he'll think this is funny. My husband is a man's man. I'm going to tell you that. He's a freaking caveman. And if I said that in front of him, he would be laughing his head off and agreeing with me. But I can tell you, he is so incredibly loving to our family and takes care of things that what we've been taught as masculinity it's a lie. A strong man gets up in the morning, makes sure his family is okay, and is so loving and caring for his family, goes out and will address all threats to his family, and just wants his wife and his kids to be okay, right? And strong women. It doesn't mean that if you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you're a wimp by any means whatsoever. There used to be more of a division, and I saw it in my family with my grandma, who absolutely, my grandpa was not going to cross her in the home. That was her place, and and their house was always, the food was amazing. It was always clean, and my grandma had a college degree. She also worked, but there was somewhat of a division of work, and there was so much pride in raising children, which is the most important job on the whole planet. You know, I have worked. I've had a wonderful career, but the most important thing I've ever done was be a mom. That's hands down, was to be a mother. It's the greatest calling any of us can have, is to be a mother and a father to our families. That's the smallest form of government. And I'm going to tell you what, I respect my husband, crazy respect for him. He's such a good man. He's a freaking caveman. I'm going to tell you that. And I love that about him, honestly, because people have said to me, you know, I have a CPL. They're like, you know, they'll tell me about CPL, and I'm like going, I got this guy here, and he loves this kind of stuff, you know, and it's crazy how they have put us into roles, establishing roles of saying, men, you need to be quiet. No, men need to speak up. I bring on the toxic masculinity. I've said that. I am married to one, okay? And it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't make him necessarily a bully, though sometimes he goes into that, you know, gets his brain ahead of, you know, his actions ahead of his brain sometimes. But we do that too as women. It's not a male or female characteristic. And it's about bringing together men and women who are fundamentally wired differently. If you don't believe me, watch animals in the wild. You know, you look at horses. Stallions are amazing. They have two functions, and that's it. The mares run the herd and make sure that the food is there. They establish a social structure, and the men, they protect and defend. That's what the stallion does. And anything that comes to threaten their herd, they are beastly, not going to negotiate, and are going to put down any threat, domestic or foreign. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And I think going into the holiday season, we can really appreciate each other no matter what. And women, don't stop feeling vulnerable. We're stronger than men when it comes to emotional things. You know, there's no two ways about it. We all know it. So just go there. And men, you guys be the cavemen that you are. We love you. We love our toxic men, our you know, our sons and our husbands and our dads and such. We love the men in our lives as exactly as God made you. And I just want to thank everybody out there. Men, women, be your bad selves the way God created you. We love both of you. You don't have to prove anything. So there you go. Charlotte says, my grandma Charlotte would put government in jail. She raised 6 kids by herself, and she knew a lot of things. The world has changed. She would be very upset to see what's going on. She passed in 1972. So, yep.
I think a lot of our predecessors would be upset with what they see going on nowadays.
Yep.
That doesn't excuse us for allowing it to happen. We are now the backstop, and we need to change it.
Mm-hmm.
We, the people, need to step up and make the difference.
What would be your top 10 things you would change right now?
Oh, that's a tough question. First of all, anybody not paying attention to the rule of law, they'd be done. They'd violate their oath of office. They'd be in jail. And I'm getting sunlight coming in on my window now. Didn't have sun this morning.
No. Well, it's still cloudy over here. West side of Michigan doesn't see sun for like
me in the eyeballs.
Weeks. What's that?
It's blasting me in the eyeballs now. It's coming in right into the window, which I love, but makes looking at the video screen or at the TV screen very difficult, because there's, you know, where the light is coming from. I see more of my shirt in the screen than I actually see the screen.
Yeah, it's dark, John.
So anyway, yes, rule of law, oath of office, critical, two most critical things. I would get rid of all alphabet organizations as per Norton versus Shelby County. They have no constitutional authority. They do not exist. Get rid of them. Anybody that's still in those positions after that information is out is a traitor. Those people need to be removed also. So those are three main things that would happen almost immediately.
What would you tell the citizenry to change? Because you can't just point, not you being you, but we can't just point at our public functionaries. We have to change fundamentally as a nation, starting with an individual. I would tell moms and dads, take this role of raising your children seriously. You are the greatest, highest ranking person when you're raising your children. And you should be very proud of that. Take it seriously and raise your kids.
The problem with that, and I'm not saying that that's not critically important. It is critically important.
Family.
But we have government stepping in every possible way to force that, to change that issue. We have the Child Protective Services. We have Adult Protective Services. We have
kidnappers.
We have kidnappers. We have trafficking going on. We have drugs in the system. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of negative stuff out there that we as parents need to get a handle on. We just need to control. Why do some parents have great kids that never get into trouble, and other parents have kids that are always in trouble? What's the deal? And how does the government affect all of that that's going on? First of all, government has no authority in the child, in the upbringing of children and the family unit. But all of these times, Hillary Clinton said it takes a village to raise a child. No, it takes the mother and the father to raise a child. But she is one of the deep state world people that want world government, international government. She is an evil, evil person. And just by her saying that, making that statement, takes people's minds off of what reality is. Reality is that you as a mother and father need to raise your child, not the village.
Well, she's a child trafficker. They're all of them child traffickers. They went down to Haiti and they were picking kids off. And you look at the case of Laura Silsby and you can see that they are child traffickers. It's institutionalized in our government. And have you seen what's going on in Haiti right now?
No, not recently, no.
Oh, my goodness. It's like when we see all the Haitians coming to the United States, if you look at what's happening in the instability in Haiti being run by the gangs right now. Now, I'm not for this, but what we just pledged, I believe, $1 million to go in there with Kenya. Kenya is putting boots on the ground, and a couple of other places are putting boots on the ground. And the United States is just pledged to fund Haiti to $1 million. I think we've got still a serious problem there because these people are without help. They're being run over by drug lords, and the Dominican Republic is building a wall between Haiti and the Dominican Republic because there is nothing in the Western Hemisphere that is as an abysmal failure as Haiti right now. It's like Sudan and some of the other countries. So they asked the United States to jump into it. And I'm going to tell you what, with the UN troops are on the ground down there. I will make a guess that they're picking kids up out of there like there's no tomorrow. And they just turned a bad situation into getting to be a worse one because they want access to those kids. So of course they're going to make sure that it's destabilized so that they can continue with their slave markets and the human trafficking trade down there. And it hasn't stopped, people. This isn't stopped. It's going on. I'll post something today that'll show you what they're doing down there. You're going to be shocked at how much human abuse is going on in Haiti. And the reason why the dynamics, even in the narrative coming from the ones that we think as reliable, they're all playing games and lying. There's so much human trafficking going around this globe. It's not even funny.
I know, and it's the sad part about it is there's still a lot of American people that don't even get it.
They don't. And it's like, okay, so we're going to virtue signal on knowing what's going on because we're Republican or we're this or we're that. You know what? We've got good and evil, and that's all we have. I'm going to see if I can pull this up just a minute. Let's see if I can pull something up. I'll show you just a quick flash of this. Very, very interesting. Because I think this is critical right now. We've got the border jumpers and that sort of thing going on. Yeah, it's a problem, but they're distracting us. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Okay, here we go. I'll pull this up just a minute. You know, it's going to start out with a
$3,000 videos all by
advertisement for
like me are sitting in their office making 10 times more. Haiti, a country in nearly.
I'm just going to I'll put this up here a minute and just take a look at this because I think this is a worthy dynamic to explore. There's a lot of good people that have insight into other things. Nobody knows it all. So we listen to good people and try to this is a 54-minute video. I'm just going to do just a little bit of it.
Total state collapse. Around 200 different heavily armed gangs have managed to seize control over large swaths of the country's territory and are operating with near impunity, while some of the more heavily armed gangs that are more similar to paramilitaries have managed to seize control over as much as 90% of Haiti's capital and largest city, Port-au-Prince. These gangs have been able to completely overpower what little is left in the country of the former Haitian government. Some of the larger and more heavily armed ones have even managed to establish roadblocks and checkpoints between Port-au-Prince and the country's largest airport, and between Port-au-Prince and the country's primary maritime ports and oil terminals. By doing so, they have, in effect, become capable of holding the entire country as a hostage by dominating Haiti's access to the outside world and access to imports of crucial supplies and oil. There's hardly even a Haitian government left in the country to speak of that's actually capable of fighting back against them, because there aren't even any elected government officials remaining in the country at all now. The most recently elected president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, was assassinated 2.5 years ago now, back in July of 2021, by still unidentified gunmen who raided his own private residence. In fact, no elections of any kind have been held in Haiti since 2016, nearly 8 years ago now. As before Moïse was assassinated, he chose to continually delay the Haitian elections that were supposed to take place in 2019. His choice to delay those elections, along with corruption allegations and a worsening economy in the island nation, led to mass protests against him that ultimately culminated in his assassination in July of 2021, under deeply suspicious circumstances. The gunmen who murdered him are assumed to continue remaining at large, while Haiti's own governmental investigation into the matter has been extremely slow-going, a fact that appears very suspicious when you consider that nearly 2 days before Moïse was assassinated, Moïse had appointed a man named Ariel Henry to become the country's next prime minister. Then, 2 days later, Moïse was killed in his home, and Ariel Henry rose to power as Haiti's new acting prime minister, without ever being ratified by the country's Senate. After taking over, Henry has also continually delayed elections in the country for the past 2.5 years, meaning that since no new president has ever been elected and every single member in the Senate's terms have all been allowed to expire, Henry has been acting as Haiti's de facto leader this whole entire time, without ever being elected or approved by the Senate to do so. There have been multiple accusations ever since that Henry was directly involved in the plot to assassinate Moïse so that he could seize power in the country for himself, including accusations that have come from Haiti's chief prosecutor. And then, nearly 2 months after Moïse's suspicious assassination rocked Haiti politically, a devastating 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck Haiti's Tiburon Peninsula in August of 2021 that would rock Haiti even further. That disaster would kill around 2,250 people in the country and injure more than 12,000 others, and would also cause up to $1.7 billion in economic destruction for Haiti, representing about 8% of the entire Haitian nominal GDP at the time. So, if you're following, in the span of just 2 months across the summer of 2021, Haiti witnessed their elected president get assassinated, then a catastrophic earthquake that cost significant financial and human destruction. And on top of those, a new unelected and unratified leader who rose to power under these circumstances and who became immediately viewed by the majority of Haitians as completely illegitimate. It was the perfect opportunity for many of Haiti's heavily armed gangs, many of which consisted of former members of the Haitian police, to begin seizing advantage of the power vacuum and the chaos to carve out their own areas of influence through force. Violence of all kinds within Haiti has therefore skyrocketed ever since 2021, largely as a result of the gang war that has been raging across the country's capital city, with the United Nations reporting that more than 3,000 people in Haiti have been killed by gang violence in 2020.
Oh yeah, and we believe the United Nations, who had, who are guilty of like 60,000 rapes. It's like these people are so evil, and it's like Charlotte said, they want the Haitian kids' DNA. These people are. If we think that this stopped, it hasn't, and the disparity between Haiti, which the average person lives on about $3 a day, and the Dominican Republic, which shares a border on the island, is incredible. It's just incredible, the disparity there and the dynamics that led up to it. And I believe in my heart of hearts that they want to see the United States taken down, and all they want is control. And these people are still trafficking kids out of Haiti.
Let me ask you a question. All of these people that seem to be poor, right? You're talking about $3 a day, barely making enough money to eat.
Which is what they're reporting. We don't know that for fact.
Well, then let me ask you the next question. Where did they get the guns and the bullets?
Yeah, there you go. It's probably from the people that are snatching the kids out of there, and it's
from
hard
to. Yes, from the United States.
United States. I'll say the United States is providing weapons.
The CIA.
Yep.
Where are the weapons coming from? Bullets cost money.
It's just like Ukraine. We were providing the weapons and the weapons for Ukraine and Afghanistan. It's our nation that is guilty of these human rights abuses, in my opinion, by funding them and providing the drugs and the weapons and the human trafficking.
And I don't want to say our nation. I want to say our criminals that are running the nation.
Thank you for the correction. I stand corrected. It's our deep state pieces of crap that are sitting in the positions of power in the three-letter agencies, in our Defense Department, in all of these high-ranking officials. All of this has got to stop, and it's going to take a Herculean effort to rout out these cockroaches that are sitting in the seats. That they want war, they want human destruction, they want these drugs to be continued to be trafficked. They want all of this.
That's right. They are the reason that we have the problems we have.
We
have a CIA, but we could stop the CIA overnight. We could stop the FBI overnight. How? Defund.
Cut the money. Yep. Defund it all.
No more money for the FBI. What would happen to them? Couldn't pay for their heat even in their building. They're done.
Throw them into a little bit of a state of disarray now, wouldn't it?
It seems to be that would fix the problem overnight.
Yeah, except for they've already got all the guns and the ammunition, so
that eventually wears out. That never stays. So if they stop the funding, if they would have stopped the funding 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about this stuff right now.
Well, and you know what? It's funny because I talk to a lot of people on here, and what's really shocking is to hear the lack of integrity, even with some of the people that I have on the show. We're going to have to change our mindset and go to God and have him weigh our actions out. And we are the ones that have to be above reproach. The government is reflective of us, we the people, in a lot of cases. And our nation needs a complete spiritual revival. We are in a spiritual war until we get it figured out. No lying, no cheating, no stealing, no bribing public officials, no putting money over people. We're going to stay in the same position. And so this Christmas, I'm going to ask everybody, really look within your heart. Jesus came to die for our sins and gave his life. And, and I think all of us really need to realize that the example is there to, be humble but fight without backing down for the things that are righteous causes. And, but we need to know where God's called each one of us to stand and really, really seek his wisdom for our lives.
We have the government that we have chosen to have.
Mm-hmm. We got what we did. We got what we chose.
We asked for. And now we are saying, oh, maybe we didn't really want it this bad. But how bad do you want it? Where's the end? Where do we stop and say this is not good, or we should allow this much corruption or that much corruption? Where do we stop? Once you, as one of my friends put it, once you start dancing with the devil, you don't know when to stop dancing. And that's where we are at the moment. We are now we have to reverse it. Now it's a big job to reverse it. And we are. We're going to be successful.
I think so too.
This is going to be the greatest battle that we have ever fought in this country. And this will go down in history as the greatest war that was ever fought, and we're going to be successful.
No guts, no glory. Run to the fire. Let's get this thing done. And I agree with you on that 100%. It's going to be a wonderful, glorious, and it's not going to come without troubles. We talked about those trials and troubles earlier. It's not going to come without that. But we are going to win. And I believe we're going to win because it's God's battle and God is on our side. I do believe that. But we got to get a little smarter. So he's letting us. He's like a good parent that lets us make our mistakes and says, "How's that working for you?
Yeah.
You ready to come back and do it the right way?" I think that's where we at. So, you have anything else you want to talk about right now?
Actually, I'm kind of out of stuff. We've kind of covered what I really wanted to say today. I want people to get on a better mindset. Stop focusing on the internet and the nonsense that's being. Remember, CIA. Yeah, that's right. CIA is probably writing that stuff you're following. They're probably telling you that it's all about contracts and you have no power. We have the power. We are the power. Without us, where would the government be?
People have to stop chasing rainbows and the little mythical unicorns that are out there. So, and get into some serious stuff.
Here's Biden running around saying we gotta stop guns, or New York or California or wherever. We're going to stop the sale of guns. People run out and buy more guns. Didn't work.
That's the beautiful thing about human beings. Tell them not to do something and watch them get just totally fried, and then they'll turn around and they'll do it. They can't win this battle.
They're not.
They can only do it if they win. The only way to win it is to put us asleep. But take the rights away and watch the temperatures start to flare. Mm-hmm. They're going to create the thing that will, in fact, take them down, which is kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, as Trump says, why destroy an enemy, or why stop the enemy when they're trying to destroy themselves? That's right.
It's a great motivator. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire when you start taking the rights away from Americans. Not going to work too well. It may for a little bit while everybody's going, whatever has happened to us. And then it gets to the point where you're so furious about it. You're like, not on my watch. We're done with this. That's right. I think we're about there.
I think we're there. Well, there's a lot of us that have already been there, crossed that line, and we're there.
You and I have had a lot of years to be ornery. So that's a good thing. Hey, I want you to send me those songs. I think that's cool.
I will send you those songs. I promise.
I think I might record some of those. I think that's awesome. Have Christmas carols according to, sing along with the new Christmas carols this year. So we'll do sing along. Have a little bouncing ball on the type.
well, I'll send you Whitmer roasting on an open fire too.
Oh, that's good. Send them all to me, and I'll go ahead and record them out there, and we'll see what happens. If you want to do it with me, that'd be great. We just get a whole chorus of us doing it.
Sure.
So, anyhow, well, let's say a prayer and end today. Thank you, dear Heavenly Father, so much for John and all the wisdom he's willing to share with us, and that we have this time to become more educated every day. And I'm just thankful every day for every single thing that people bring forward to help us learn what it is that we're supposed to know, that we should know, to maintain this great nation that you gave us. We are thankful for this holiday season that we are coming into to celebrate the birth of your precious, precious gift, your son, Jesus Christ. And we're very thankful for that. I ask that you bless everyone out there with peace during the holiday season, with people that people are imperfect, and give us patience and peace and long suffering to stay with people, even if they're offensive and that they don't like what we have to say, and give them grace. We're all trying to get through this life in a very imperfect way. Help us turn our attention towards you, our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, excuse me, and that we can help forgive each other when we fall down or do things that are just thoughtless or hostile or whatever. I ask that you would forgive each and every one of us and help guide us into a peaceful demeanor, into one full of joy, and that our highest goal through the season is to honor you and to be the peacemakers in a very non-peaceful world, in no matter what, even if we have to take a step back for a little bit to gain our own sanity in an insane situation. Thank you so very much for everything you've done for us. You are so amazing, and we have so much to be thankful for. The food that we have, the ability to enjoy this holiday season, enjoy Christmas, and giving gifts to each other and spending time with each other. Help us to have a servant's mind to serve the people around us, their emotional needs, their physical needs, and that we put that above the materialism that's been sold to us for so long. It's not about what we get, it's about what we give. And we're thankful to be in a position to really look at other people as very hurting individuals. The whole nation is hurting. The whole world is hurting right now. And help us to look through your lens and see what needs to be done and jump in and do the hard work, the thankless work, the work that just needs to be done for the healing of others in this nation. We ask that you bless those that are in authority over us, that their eyes would be firmly fixed on you, on what it is that you want done. We're willing to follow you and to obey. And we ask for this nation to be brought back into one nation under you, where we all can live in a peaceful situation with each other, where the law of the land is there to protect the individual rights that you've given us. And we're just thankful for everything. We are a great friend to us. We want to be an awesome friend to you. And we want to let you know that we love you very much, and happy birthday to Jesus. In Jesus Christ's precious name we pray. Amen. So there you go. Well, any last words here, John?
Well, we're on Wednesday night, and the following week, which is the day after, or the couple of days after Christmas, we'll be at Nicholas.
Oh, look at this. It's not a stop for a holiday. John Tater, Beast John Tater, right there. You know, he just keeps going, you know, just
right.
Like Ever Ready Bunny. We're going to blow through this Christmas season, and we're just going to keep going.
That's right. We keep going. Well, you know, the group doesn't want to stop either. The group says, yeah, we want to go through Christmas. We want to continue our march on. So that's what we're doing.
There you go. Well, Merry Christmas, John. Thank you so much. I love our times that we get on and talk. So Merry Christmas, and thank you so much. I have so much respect for you. I really do, and thank you for all you do.
By the way, if you can show up on Wednesday, there's a good possibility that one of the Brunsons will show up.
Oh, that's cool.
He was there last week, and he said he'd come back this week. So
was it Loy or Darren?
You're asking me a question I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, was that on the Zoom? Was he on the Zoom?
Yeah, it was on our Zoom.
Okay.
He was on our Zoom last week, and he'll be on our Zoom. He says he'll be back this week, Wednesday.
Oh, that's cool. I know Loy and Darren. They're really amazing. So that's very cool. I don't know if I'm going to be able to be here because I'm going to be down in Florida. I got an invite to go back down there again to Mar-a-Lago. So I'm going to be here, there, and everywhere. So at any rate, here we go, guys.
Well, take Norton with you.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? I will. go to BrandenburgForGovernor.com because I am the best non-conceder who's ever not conceded. And John is right there with me. He is still not conceding. So we have beast not conceders until they fix the 2022 election and the 2020 stolen, rigged election by public functionaries who are traitors and who are guilty of treason. So there you go. So anyhow, God bless you all. God bless all those whom you love, and God bless America. Make it a great day, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, John.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.